Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever woken up feeling like your body just isn't quite, well, ready for the day?
Yeah.
Or noticed that after a few hours at your desk, maybe your shoulders feel welded to your ears?
Yeah, that tightness.
Exactly. Or, bending down to tie your shoelaces suddenly feels like a minor expedition.
Uh-huh. Very relatable.
If you're nodding along, you are absolutely not alone. And here's the thing. It's not just part of getting older. These feelings are actually crucial signals your body is sending.
Right. And what's truly fascinating here, and maybe often misunderstood, is that while lots of people kind of resign themselves to these feelings thinking, oh, well, inevitable aging, modern science is actually pulling back the curtain.
Okay.
It's revealing this cascade of hidden changes deep within our muscle fibers, our connective tissues.
Hidden changes?
Yeah. These aren't just random aches. They're the real culprits behind that age-related stiffness. And the good news is they're changes we can understand, and crucially,
You can do something about them.
we can influence them. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So our mission today is to take a deep dive into the cutting-edge research that's uncovering 4 hidden reasons why your muscles and joints seem to get stiffer as we age. We're going to explore some surprising insights that could fundamentally shift how you think about your body, movement, and, aging itself.
Empowering stuff.
It really is. This isn't just about feeling better, though that's great. It's about giving you the knowledge to decode your body's signals and actually respond effectively.
Exactly.
So let's get into it. When we talk about that pervasive feeling of stiffness, what's really happening, like on a cellular level, most people just think, time marches on.
Right, just wear and tear.
Oh.
But the science tells a much more nuanced story. It absolutely does.
Okay.
The truth is, it's not simply wear and tear. One of the primary drivers, and this is our first hidden cause, is a fundamental shift in your muscle architecture.
Muscle architecture.
You think of your muscles not just as bundles of fibers, but as these complex, intricately scaffolded structures. And that scaffolding, the extracellular matrix, is what holds everything together.
Okay, the scaffolding. So what's going wrong with it as we age?
Well, the collagen fibers within that matrix, they're supposed to be flexible, right? Elastic.
Right.
They start to undergo a process called glycation.
Glycation. Okay, what's that?
It's essentially where sugar molecules attach themselves to your collagen proteins. And they create these cross-links.
Cross-links.
Yeah, that make the collagen stiff and brittle. The analogy that really helps here, I think, is picturing perfectly flexible strands of pasta before cooking.
Okay, uncooked pasta. Got it.
Glycation turns them into something more like dried, overcooked pasta.
Oh, rigid.
Rigid, easily snapped, and definitely not pliable.
So our muscle's own internal support system is essentially becoming rigid. And this isn't just a minor change, is it?
Not at all. Not minor. This change fundamentally alters how your muscles can contract and relax. It makes them significantly less efficient.
How significant?
Well, studies actually show this can contribute up to 60% of the total muscle stiffness we experience.
60%. Wow.
Yeah, it's huge. It's almost like your muscles are being wrapped in increasingly tight, inflexible bandages, but from the inside out.
Okay, 60% from just that architectural change. And it's not just our muscles getting this internal stiffening, right? Our ligaments, those crucial connections between our bones, they're changing too.
Exactly, host.
Yeah.
That leads us straight into our second hidden cause. Your ligaments are literally hardened.
Literally hardening.
Yes. The same glycation process that hits your muscles also significantly impacts your ligaments. These tough fibrous bands start accumulating what scientists call advanced glycation end products, AGs for short.
AGs.
But we often describe these AGs as a kind of internal rust.
Internal rust, that really paints a picture like things are seizing up.
Exactly. They cause a similar kind of stiffening and degradation within the tissue itself.
And the research points to this process speeding up at a certain point, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, it's happening throughout adult life, but this hardening process, it demonstrably accelerates after age 60.
After 60, okay.
Which is why you might suddenly notice more stiffness in areas like your shoulders, your neck, your hips. Those ligaments around your joints, they were once flexible, but they become thicker, more fibrous,
Yeah.
truly transforming their structure into something that actually resembles scar tissue more than pliable elastic bands.
Wow. So the very things meant for flexibility are turning rigid.
Precisely.
That's a profound shift. Okay, so we've got muscle architecture changing, ligaments hardening. Now, for the third hidden cause, we shift from the structure to the nervous system. This one sounds really surprising. Your brain is overprotecting your joints. What's going on upstairs?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting because the brain, is trying to keep us safe.
Right.
But in doing so, it can actually make us feel stiffer. As we age, our nervous system subtly changes its strategy for movement.
How so?
Well, instead of just activating the muscles needed for a specific motion, the brain starts to activate the opposing muscles at the same time.
Opposing muscles. Wait.
Yes, we call this antagonist co-activation.
So hang on. If I'm trying to, say, lift my arm, my brain is also telling the muscles that would lower my arm to engage?
That's exactly it.
That sounds incredibly inefficient, like fighting yourself.
Precisely. It's like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one on the brake simultaneously.
Okay, I get that analogy, but why would the brain do that?
The brain's intention, we think, is to create more stability, especially around joints that might feel a bit less secure due to other age-related changes.
Ah, okay, a protective measure.
A protective measure, exactly.
Yeah.
But the unintended consequence, of course, is that every movement requires more effort. It leads to that feeling of constant stiffness, a less fluid motion.
So the brain, trying to help, actually ends up hindering our ease of movement. It's a real internal battle, isn't it?
It really is.
Okay. And for our fourth hidden cause, we're going even deeper. Inside the muscle fiber itself. You mentioned the protein that controls muscle flexibility is changing. Tell us about this.
Titin.
Ah, titin. It's truly a marvel of biology. Titin is actually the largest protein known in the human body.
The largest, wow.
Yeah, and it acts like a molecular spring deep within your muscle fibers. It's crucial for determining how stiff or flexible your muscles feel at rest. It provides that passive tension we sometimes feel.
So it's literally our body's built-in suspension system.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Think of Titin as the sophisticated suspension system in your car. When it's working well, the ride is smooth.
Right.
But recent research shows that aging leads to something called post-translational modification of Titin.
Post-translational modification sounds complex.
Yeah.
It just means subtle chemical changes or structural shifts happen to the protein after it's been made. And these modifications can essentially stiffen that molecular spring.
Which means, what does that feel like?
It means your muscles develop increased passive tension. They become less compliant. They require significantly more force just to stretch them, just to move them, even when you're completely relaxed.
Ah, so that feeling of being kind of wound up or tight even before you've done anything strenuous.
That often traces back to these changes in Titin. Yes.
Okay, so putting it all together, muscle architecture, ligaments hardening, the brain overprotecting, and now this Titin protein stiffening. These aren't isolated things, are they? They must interact.
They absolutely do. It's often a vicious cycle.
How so?
Well, when your muscle architecture changes, your ligaments harden, your brain puts the brakes on, and your Titin stiffens. It all feeds into one central problem.
Right.
You become stiffer.
Right.
And what happens when you feel stiffer? Naturally, you tend to move less.
Makes sense.
But then, this reduction in movement actually accelerates the very stiffness processes we've been talking about.
Oh, how?
It creates this powerful biological feedback loop. Stiffness leads to less movement. Less movement leads to more stiffness.
A truly vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And one that can dramatically impact independence, quality of life.
Absolute.
But understanding these mechanisms, these four hidden causes, it really gives us specific targets, doesn't it? It's not just some vague aging process.
That's the empowering part.
Yeah.
Exactly. When you know what's really driving the stiffness, you can move beyond just treating the symptoms. You can start thinking about addressing the root causes, which opens up avenues for more effective interventions.
Right. Okay, so now that we understand some of these, frankly, fascinating processes happening inside the body, let's talk about the outward signals. What are the warning signs you should be actively watching for, the signs that indicate these changes might be taking hold?
Yeah, good question. One of the earliest and maybe most common indicators is what we sometimes call the morning stiffness cascade.
Morning stiffness. A lot of people feel that.
Right, but there's a difference. It's normal to feel a brief stiffness after sleep, maybe for a few minutes. But if that stiffness lasts more than, say, 30 minutes after you wake up,
30 minutes, okay.
that's your body's first significant alarm bell. You might find yourself moving slowly, feeling like you need to warm up before your joints feel truly ready for the day.
Okay, more than half an hour. Got it. And beyond that initial wake-up call, what might happen next?
Well, that often progresses into a noticeable, reduced range of motion.
Like what?
You might notice it when you reach for something on a high shelf, or maybe turning your head fully to check a blind spot while driving feels harder.
Yeah.
And clinical studies back this up. They show significant declines in flexibility. For instance, shoulder mobility can decrease by up to 20% in adults over 60.
20%.
And neck mobility shows similar, sometimes even greater, reductions, particularly in men, interestingly.
So are certain joints kind of like canaries in the coal mine? Do they signal problems earlier?
They can, yes. Your hips often show the first significant changes, especially an extension that's the backward movement of your leg, which is crucial for a fluid walking stride.
Okay, hip extension.
If that becomes limited, your entire gait can change. Sometimes that leads to that characteristic shuffling walk you sometimes see associated with aging.
Ah, the shuffling gait. Okay, what else?
Shoulders are another key area. Being the most mobile joint, they're also quite vulnerable. Difficulty reaching behind your back, maybe to fasten something, or just lifting your arms fully overhead, they can point back to those location changes in the connective tissues we talked about.
Right, the internal rust. And the spine, lower back, neck?
Yes, with the spine, particularly the lower back and neck, stiffness often shows up as difficulty with rotation, twisting, and side bending.
How would you notice that?
Well, maybe you find yourself turning your whole body instead of just your head to look behind you. Or perhaps you need to kind of rock back and forth to get momentum when getting out of a low chair. Those are pretty clear indicators of spinal stiffness progressing.
Okay. Those seem fairly obvious once you know what to look for. Are there more subtle signs people might miss?
Absolutely. Several, in fact. One of the most overlooked symptoms, and something research frequently points to, is a change in sleep quality.
Sleep quality, how does that connect?
If you're consistently waking up feeling like you've been, hit by a truck, even after what seems like a full night's rest,
Yeah.
it's often a strong signal that your muscles are experiencing increased passive tension, that tighten effect we discussed. It just makes truly restful, restorative sleep harder to achieve.
That's a really common complaint I hear, feeling unrested despite sleeping. What else?
Another subtle but crucial one is effort awareness.
Effort awareness.
This is when activities that were once completely automatic, like stepping into a bathtub, maybe climbing a flight of stairs, or even just getting up from a comfy sofa, now require conscious thought and planning.
You have to think about it first.
Exactly. Your brain is having to actively recruit more muscles, or maybe alter movement patterns, just to compensate for the increased stiffness. It's no longer effortless.
Okay. And you mentioned balance.
Yes, balance changes. Stiffer muscles can impair proprioception.
Proprioception, that's your body's sense of where it is in space.
Precisely. So, if you find yourself reaching for railings more often, or feeling less confident walking on uneven ground like grass or gravel, it's a sign your body's stability systems are being affected by that underlying stiffness.
Okay. So stiffness isn't just uncomfortable, it can actually impact balance. And when does this cross the line from being a nuisance to becoming genuinely dangerous?
That's a critical question, host. When stiffness significantly limits mobility, it dramatically increases fall risk.
How dramatically?
Research consistently shows older adults with limited joint mobility have 3 times the risk of falls compared to their more mobile peers.
3 times. That's huge.
It is. And we need to remember, falls aren't just minor incidents for older adults. They are the leading cause of injury-related death in people over 65.
Wow. And how does stiffness directly cause falls?
Well, stiff muscles simply can't react quickly enough if you stumble or lose your balance. And remember that antagonist coactivation we talked about, the brain hitting the gas and brake at once.
Yeah.
That actually interferes with the rapid, coordinated muscle responses needed to prevent a fall if you trip or slip.
So it's a double whammy, slower reactions and conflicting signals.
Exactly.
Okay, and what about that feeling some people describe, like a general achiness or stiffness that seems to move around, almost like a systemic feeling?
Ah, yes. That brings us neatly to the inflammation connection. Many people report feeling a generalized achy sensation, or maybe an overall body stiffness that seems to fluctuate day to day.
Right, not always in the same spot.
Precisely. And this is no coincidence. Those same glycation processes, the AGs, the internal rust that stiffen your tissues, also trigger low-grade systemic inflammation throughout your body.
Ah, inflammation.
Yes. And that explains why your symptoms might feel worse on certain days. Perhaps it's related to weather changes or maybe periods of stress. It's because your body's inflammatory response isn't constant. It varies.
Okay, so that inflammatory component is a key piece of the puzzle, and maybe one that changes more often.
Exactly. And that inflammatory component is also, interestingly, one of the most responsive to natural interventions.
Ah, okay, that leads us perfectly to the next big question. Knowing all this complex science, what are some practical, natural strategies our listeners can actually start exploring? Things to support their body's resilience against this stiffness.
Precisely, host. We're talking about working with your body's natural healing mechanisms here. The goal isn't necessarily reversal, but certainly slowing progression and significantly improving comfort and function.
Okay, where do we start? You mentioned glycation, that internal rust. So let's start with the anti-glycation approach. How can we fight back against those AGs?
Right. A really powerful natural ally here is curcumin. That's the active compound in turmeric.
Turmeric, very popular right now.
And for good reason. It's one of the most potent natural anti-glycation agents we know. Clinical studies show it can reduce inflammatory markers, yes, but also help prevent that collagen cross-linking we discussed.
Okay, but just sprinkling turmeric on food isn't enough, right?
That's a key point. Bioavailability is crucial. You really need an enhanced supplement form, something designed for better absorption, not just the powder from your spice rack to get those therapeutic levels.
Got it. Enhanced curcumin. What else in the anti-glycation realm? I've heard about tart cherries.
Yes, tart cherries are definitely having a moment in the research, and it seems justified. They contain unique compounds called anthocyanins.
Anthocyanins, okay.
And these have been shown to reduce muscle damage and pain. There's a notable study back in 2018, for instance, that found significant reductions in exercise-induced muscle soreness with tart cherry consumption.
Interesting. So how do you take it? Juice?
For benefit, yeah, we're generally talking about concentrated juice or an extract rather than just eating a handful of fresh cherries. Those are healthy too.
Okay, moving on. Next up, the magnesium solution. This mineral seems to come up a lot for muscle health. Is it really that fundamental for stiffness?
It's absolutely crucial, host, and often overlooked. Magnesium deficiency is incredibly common, particularly in adults over 60.
Why is it so important for muscles?
Well, magnesium is literally essential for the muscle relaxation phase after a contraction. Without enough magnesium, your muscle fibers can remain in a partially contracted state.
Ah, so they can't really let go.
Exactly, which contributes directly to that feeling of ongoing stiffness and tension.
So how do we get more? Food first.
Absolutely. Think almonds, cashews, spinach, black beans, good sources. But if dietary intake isn't enough, supplementation can be very helpful.
Any specific type? There are so many forms.
Magnesium glycinate is often recommended. It tends to be well absorbed and is generally easier on the digestive system than some other forms like magnesium oxide.
Magnesium glycinate, okay. And consistency is key.
Yes. Like many of these natural approaches, building up and maintaining optimal levels over time provides the best results. It's not usually an overnight fix.
Right. Okay, let's talk movement. The gentle movement prescription. You mentioned earlier that just general stretching might have limits for deep structural changes.
Yes, the science offers an important nuance here. While general stretching definitely feels good and helps with comfort and temporary flexibility, research suggests its impact on those deep structural changes in aged muscles. The glycation, the tighten changes, might be limited.
Okay, so what kind of movement is beneficial then?
Specific types seem more impactful. Eccentric exercise, for example.
Eccentric? What's that?
That's when the muscle lengthens while it's under tension. Think about the motion of walking downhill or slowly lowering a weight after lifting it.
Ah, the lowering part.
Exactly. And interestingly, our bodies seem to preserve eccentric strength better with age compared to concentric strength, the lifting part. So it's something we can often still do effectively.
That's interesting. And what about practices like Tai Chi? You hear a lot about that for older adults.
Tai Chi is remarkable. It really seems to tick a lot of boxes. Studies consistently show it improves balance, directly addressing that fall risk.
Right.
It reduces fall risk and helps maintain joint mobility. It's effective because it addresses both the physical and the neurological aspects. It gently retrains the nervous system for more efficient movement, like counteracting that antagonist coactivation while simultaneously promoting flexibility. It's quite holistic.
Okay, Tai Chi. Makes sense. Now, for more immediate relief, people often turn to heat, right? The heat therapy advantage. Is that just about feeling good?
It feels good, but there's science behind it too. Heat increases blood flow to those stiff tissues.
Yeah, okay.
And it temporarily makes collagen fibers a bit more pliable, a bit more extensible. So warm baths, heating pads, even infrared saunas can offer significant symptomatic relief.
Any particular recommendations?
Well, Epsom salt baths are a great option. You get the benefit of the heat, plus potential transdermal absorption of magnesium from the Epsom salts and general relaxation.
Good combo. What about something really basic like hydration? Does drinking enough water actually affect stiffness?
It plays a surprisingly huge role. Proper hydration is essential for maintaining the synovial fluid, that's the lubricating fluid in your joints.
Ah, joint lubrication.
Yes, and it also helps keep your fascia pliable. Fascia is that web of connective tissue that runs throughout your entire body. If it gets dehydrated, it gets sticky and restricted.
And is dehydration common?
It is, especially in older adults, because our sense of thirst tends to diminish with age. So many people are walking around in a state of chronic mild dehydration without realizing it.
So simple steps.
Really simple. Start your day with a full glass of water before anything else. And maybe monitor your urine color, aiming for clear to pale yellow, is a good general indicator of adequate hydration.
Simple, but effective. Okay, and finally, a perennial favorite topic for health. The sleep connection. How does sleep fit into the stiffness picture?
Fundamentally, sleep is your body's primary time for repair work. That includes repairing and maintaining muscle and connective tissues.
Makes sense.
If you have poor or insufficient sleep, it actually accelerates those low-grade inflammatory processes we talked about.
Ah, linking back to inflammation.
Exactly. Which, in turn, can exacerbate feelings of stiffness and achiness. So prioritizing sleep hygiene, a cool, dark, quiet room, a consistent schedule, can profoundly support your body's natural repair mechanisms and help manage stiffness.
Okay, that's a lot of great natural strategies, but it's also important to manage expectations, isn't it?
Yeah.
What can these methods realistically achieve, and what are their limitations?
That's a crucial point, host. These natural strategies are excellent. They can help slow the progression of age-related stiffness. They can significantly reduce that inflammatory component, improve day-to-day comfort, boost overall quality of life, and definitely support your body's natural repair processes. But they generally cannot completely reverse advanced structural changes like severe glycation or significant tighten modification. They won't eliminate all age-related stiffness entirely. And very importantly, this information is for education. It absolutely should complement, not replace, professional medical evaluation and care.
Right. Crucial disclaimer.
Always consult with your doctor or healthcare provider before making significant changes to your health routine, especially if you have existing medical conditions or are taking medications. They can help you tailor advice to your specific situation.
Excellent point. So, thinking about the listener, imagine yourself maybe 6 months from now waking up, perhaps without that really familiar, heavy stiffness, moving through your day with a bit more ease, more confidence, feeling more connected to your body and what it can still do.
Yeah, and it's not about achieving perfection, right? It's about progression. Every small, informed step you take, backed by this knowledge you've gained today about these hidden causes, why you feel the way you do, it's truly a powerful investment in your future independence and your overall quality of life.
It really is. I'm reminded of Maria, actually one of our listeners who contacted us a while back. She was 68, I think, and she felt, in her words, betrayed by her body, just constantly stiff and achy.
That feeling of helplessness is common.
Exactly. She said, I felt helpless. But then, armed with a bit more understanding about why, she started embracing some of these natural approaches, some gentle yoga, being consistent with curcumin and magnesium. And crucially, she understood why she was doing them.
The understanding makes a difference.
It really did for her. Today, she told us, she still has some stiffness. I mean, that's part of the reality of living in a body for nearly 7 decades, but she no longer feels helpless or confused by it. She feels like she's learned to age more skillfully.
That's a wonderful outcome. And her story is such a testament. But the path forward isn't really about fighting aging, is it? It's more about working with your body's natural processes, supporting them with evidence-based interventions, keeping realistic expectations, but never giving up on improvement.
That's so well put. Working with your body. Every morning stretch, every extra glass of water, every anti-inflammatory meal you choose. It's like a small declaration that you're not just going to accept decline as inevitable.
Exactly. So maybe here's a thought to leave our listeners with. If understanding these hidden processes behind stiffness can empower you to reclaim a greater sense of ease and independence in your movement, what other aspects of your well-being might benefit from a similar, deeper, more informed dive?
That's a great question to ponder. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. And thank you, our listener, for your commitment to understanding your body and taking those proactive steps for your health. It's truly inspiring.